Hey fellow gardeners, Dawn here from Seasonal Designs. It is almost the end of October. It is a beautiful fall morning. We've been very blessed with beautiful weather the past couple of months and only really a couple of very light frosts. And while I don't have a ton of things blooming in my yard anymore, I do have a lot of fall interest. I thought you guys might like to do a quick little fall walkabout. So if you're ready, let's get started. Well, we definitely need to start where we have gorgeous blooms still. With my petunias that I grew from seed, Pink Mirage, and this beautiful Mandevilla vine still blooming and really looking quite lovely. And then right around this end of the patio, kind of surrounding the sort of half brick wall and the pergola, is this gorgeous grass. And this is the time of year when it truly is just stunning. Now, this is, if I say this correctly, Miscanthus purascens, and it is generally considered sterile and non-invasive. However, some say that individual cultivars can cross-pollinate and produce viable seeds. Now, I have not seen that happen here at all. This grass has been here for 28 years. It's not spread. It hasn't receded anywhere. So I'm confident that we're good here. I mean, I have a prairie right behind it, and it is not in my prairie over here at all. So my prairie has big and little blue stems and Indian grass, and then this particular Miscanthus is in my yard. And I love it. I mean, I think it's beautiful. And this is a really cool little urn. I picked this up at an estate sale that I happened to find. And I love it. It has drainage, which is awesome because I have something similar to this, but it doesn't have drainage. And so you really have to be careful with how much you water. But just being out here in the cold, the cabbage have really just gotten gorgeous in that little arrangement. And of course, right behind us is a big, beautiful sugar maple tree that is starting to color up now. And the one thing I will mention is that we really have not had a lot of rain, like maybe a half inch in the last month and a half. It's been incredibly dry. I have been watering the new Eastern Redbud that we have in here, but a lot of my garden has not received water. The annuals here are still blooming. I had to get rid of the sweet potato vine that did get hit. But it hasn't been cold enough to take any of this, which is great. So this little bed here is a little work in progress. For the most part, it's done. I just need to fill in with more pansies and violas. Just kind of same colors just to tie them into what's going on in my containers up there. This Amsonia usually will color up a little bit as well. So it's just starting. I'm afraid a lot of stuff is very dry. And so when it's dry, it tends to brown out more than it colors up. I mean, there's still even a few errant geranium blooms in here. And then, of course, this beautiful tree. Look at the berries. Oh, it is just loaded. This tree holds on to its berries all winter long. It's gorgeous. And so it looks so pretty in winter as well. Beautiful addition here for on the corner. I love it, this tree. And my containers looking lovely, lovely, lovely. Again, the cabbages that I grew. This one I purchased, but the rest of these I grew from seed. And we'll go in here. We had a dinner party last evening. Heat is on in here because it is cold outside. And it's on because I have my tropicals in here. So the bird of paradise that I got 2 years ago from Erin over at the Impatient Gardener, doing really well. And it just got another big leaf here. Isn't that gorgeous? And it has more coming, so more new leaves. So sorry the heater is a little loud, but we need to keep the plants warm. So we have this heater here, which is a greenhouse heater. And then we also have the fireplace. So this was real pretty. I'll pop a picture in of what this looked like all set up. Oh, let me grab this. Take this back in. I'm gonna leave this set up for now. I have a garden club meeting coming up. I think this will look lovely for that. And then over here, I have my big, beautiful, gorgeous gardenia. I want you to look at this and how great it looks, because once it gets moved into the basement in December, January, oh, it's when it really starts to suffer. And the yucca or the corn plant. And this does have a bloom. Let me see if we can get in here. Oh. There's a bloom, but lots more coming. So if I can keep it warm enough in here, lots of buds. Boy, that could just be gorgeous. Geranium still looking good. A lot of succulents in here. My mangave is over there. Well, believe it or not, my impatiens are still blooming as well. Isn't that crazy? Let me go around this side. Still looking really good despite the 38 degrees this morning. And this is another find. I found this at an estate sale. This woman had a gorgeous garden. She had lots of cool pots. I really liked this one. I just thought it was it's just rustic and worn and just beautiful. So I just popped a mum in it for this year, but just looking so pretty. Begonia coleus combo still doing fine. It's next to the house. It stays a little bit warmer there. This just was beautiful this year with this beautiful color in the begonia, pulling that out from the pink in the coleus. And it's starting to look a little rough close up, but still real pretty. So cutting garden area. A lot of stuff still blooming in the cutting garden, and these 2 urns here that I did for fall. Just so pretty. Isn't that cabbage just gorgeous? And the colder it gets, the more beautiful those colors get. And a nice pansy in here, Dusty Miller in here. my hydrangeas that when I originally put them in there were that beautiful lime green color. Those are my Annabelles. The wire vine hanging down. But even with the brown, you know, you put in like the green hydrangeas to kind of fill in because there's a lot of space here until things get bigger. I knew they would turn brown, but they kind of match the stems coming out of it, or the twigs coming out of it. But oh, just so pretty. But yeah, things still blooming over here. I was able to make that table arrangement using my dahlias. I still have my black-eyed Susan vine is still blooming. I have some zinnias that are still blooming. I thought I'd show you a couple of fall containers I did. These two here that flank the front walk. I do have mums in here that are pretty bloomed right now. So they're probably going to start heading out, but I have asters in here. I have a really pretty little echinacea in here. Of course, some ornamental cabbage, the ones that I grew, really looking pretty. Just to add a little pop of fall color. And then these Sum and Substance hostas, I leave these up until they get hit with a major cold spell and they really flop, and then I take them out. But I love that golden color. There's no blooms, but it does add a beautiful color here in, you know, like along the front walkway. I do have roses blooming. This is a carpet rose. Let's see if I can zoom in. We have actually a lot of buds. We have 70-degree days coming this next week, so I expect these to continue blooming. And then this little arrangement I did at the front for fall is really staying away from the orange right up here by the house. I thought I'd try something different, and I really went with purples, greens, and whites, which is kind of easy to do for fall because the cabbages look so gorgeous. I've grown these from seed. This year I have verbena in here. I pulled that from a container I was deep sixing. I do have a heuchera in here. And then of course a grass. Just looking really pretty. And then green and white pumpkins. So really trying to stay within that color scheme. And of course, the Japanese forest grass here looking beautiful. I'm really trying to stay on top of any of it that reverts to green. And I really am happy with it this year. I've pulled out some, but I just love that variegation it gets. It's so pretty. And so I want it to stay this color. There was a period of time where the green was like literally taking over. And I dug out a big patch of it and got rid of it. Added another couple of plants in here of this variegated variety, and it has been doing well. So super happy with that. Hydrangeas, Annabelle. This is Annabelle. Really kind of in the lime green and browning up stage right now. This did very well this year. You know what did well? My support system. So I think I finally found a support system that keeps, for the most part, keeps the blooms, you know, they get so big and heavy. If you have any sort of narrow support, they tend to, those heads just flop right over. And what I've done is I've really gone in with a support system in the inside from the bottom up, a couple of different layers, and I think it really helped this year. We have very little grass die off here, and normally like half of the lawn is gone here because it flops so much. So my husband is happy too. He does not like it flopping on his grass. And then of course that big sugar maple. Just beautiful with color. And then from the front again, if we just take a look at this front berm, nothing blooming other than the grass. But it still has, I want to say, you know, the texture. So the spent blooms or the carexes here of this beautiful Russian sage does provide some color. Oh yeah, there's a little purple still in there. You can barely see it. But it does provide some texture and color. You can also see the weeds easier. I got to get in there and weed. And then right into this big mound here of grass. And this is up on a berm, so it looks even bigger and bolder because it's elevated. And it used to be a much smaller because there was a tree that kind of hung over and gave it shade, but now it does get a lot of sun. You come up and you see this big plume of beautiful grass kind of blowing in the wind, and that beautiful sugar maple right behind it. It's so pretty. I think it makes just a really nice sort of entryway focal point as you're driving in to the house this time of year in fall. Okay, my cleome is still blooming. My nicotiana is blooming. Got a petunia blooming, and I have a delphinium that is gonna bloom. How bizarre is that? But you can see I've cleaned out a lot of my containers. And I really need to do some yard cleanup here. Almost everything I leave up. When the hostas get hit, I will cut those back. And then I'll probably clean up some of this as well, some of the daylilies. This is that beautiful shade garden area. Look how pretty that looks. With the reds and the golds. There's dark purple, there's lime green. That's real pretty. And look at that mukdenia. Let me walk over here. I mean, it is like bright red now. Just wait until these are bigger and it just takes up this whole area. And this whole area is just that beautiful bright red. And even the ferns, autumn brilliance, still looking so pretty. Well, this is the back hillside of the prairie that is covered with little blue stem, big blue stem, and some Indian grass, and it is gorgeous right now. And it's windy out, but it is just so pretty. So this one right here, so all of this is little blue stem, and it gets just this beautiful sort of wispy bloom on the top with the seed heads, but this gorgeous, intense red color. And planted in mass, it is just so pretty. And then it's mixed in with the big blue stem, which is taller. And then there's also some Indian grass, and that has some of the orange in it. But I mean, it's so pretty this time of year. So pretty. Well, that is going to be it for today's garden tour, and I am going to end this with this big, glorious, beautiful sugar maple tree behind me. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.